the greatest minds from around the world. This is the Nerds That Know. Stash here, along with my wonderful plethora of fellow nerds, freaks, and fools. Please, one and all, introduce yourself. How are you? How have you been? Are you as exhausted as I am?
Oh, I'm definitely a fool. That one fits. I'll take it. Fox here.
I'll be a nerd.
Foolishly here.
Nerd and a freak. This is Bobbi, and yes, I am as exhausted as you are.
I'm a Smurf for all flavors. Pick one. I'll be it for you.
Yeah.
Smurf on demand.
That's right, baby.
Exhausted.
Smurf, the soft serve Smurf. Whatever you need, whatever flavor. It's like going to 7-Eleven and mixing the Slurpees together. It's great.
Tank?
Yeah, not exhausted, which is weird. But
how are you
Oh,
not
so you're
exhausted?
dead.
You have 2 children and a wife.
yeah,
Have you got past that point of exhaustion that you're so tired, you're overtired, and you just
Yeah.
don't?
I'm at a point of delirium at this point.
All right, that checks out. Well, we have had
You're punch drunk.
There you go.
Basically, yeah.
Well, we have had one hell of a week this week, and it all started with E3, and it's all going to end with E3. But let's start with something a little easier right now. If Bobbi is available.
Bobbi is available. She was grabbing chapstick.
Into the Heights dropped on HBO Max last
How
week
is that easier?
and theaters. And I have to say, like, I enjoyed it. I don't know about you guys, but I enjoyed it.
There was a lot of singing in it. Was there supposed to be singing in it?
No, you hallucinated all of
Yeah,
that.
that was all hallucination.
I mean, I know I've been drinking a lot of wine over the last couple of days, the weekend especially, but was there supposed to be that much singing in it?
There was supposed to be more singing in it. They cut a lot of songs.
I was about to say that. I was surprised. I've heard the soundtrack to that, musical, several hundred times.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I was surprised by how little music was actually in that.
And
Like,
the number of characters that they killed off before the show even started.
Oh yeah, well that's what Steph was talking about. I've never seen the original one, so I didn't know that someone was dead until she told me.
Did they kill people off, or did they just not include them?
No, they have her dead.
Yeah, because they reference the people and they're just dead.
They're just dead. They didn't miss the show.
I mean, isn't that the best way to start a movie is with a genocide?
I mean, it is a Disney. Well, no, it's not Disney, so that's
Well, it's on Disney. No, it's not. It's, I was going to say it's not Disney Plus. No, but Lynn is on Disney Plus, which is why we're all going there.
Usually
No,
that's,
it's on
that's
HBO.
a Disney thing, not usually everybody else.
Are you kidding? Up started with a death. You have this happy, pretty little picture of
That
painting
was Disney.
little couple, and then the old man loses the woman, and it is heart-wrenching. Oh
That's
my
what I'm saying.
God!
I cry every time I see
It's
that.
usually
This is
Disney's
the
movie
point.
to kill somebody.
Disney kills off people.
Yeah,
What
you don't
gets
get to see
me
that everywhere
is
else.
Lynn was actively participating in the production of this movie,
Which means
right?
he must have been okay with it.
right? He has multiple cameos in this movie. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's also a little like Easter egg from Hamilton in there. Did anybody catch it?
I don't think I noticed it.
I think Fox, being our Hamilton expert, Fox, what's the call?
I did not have a chance to see it. Unfortunately, my sister invited me out to see it on Friday evening, but I had other plans, which,
Kind of conflicted.
I was bummed about it, but
Well, then I retract that call.
I'll get back to you on that.
All right.
Okay. So not
I did
only
notice multiple cameos from him.
okay, well,
I noticed
plus there was also a couple of actors who were in Hamilton who were in this movie.
that
But
doesn't surprise me at all.
there was a little, I'm not going to give it away so Fox can find it, but there is a little Hamilton Easter egg in this film.
Well, Fox, sounds like you've got homework to do.
You have to tell us what it is. I didn't notice it, actually.
I wonder if your spouse noticed.
Yeah, she did. She didn't say anything.
Okay, well, I noticed. I caught it like right away.
Did anyone else watch the bonus scene on this film?
I did not. I was in a hurry to get upstairs and log on.
It was a very amusing and completely irrelevant bonus scene. And I gotta say, like, the only reason I knew it was there is because I left the credits on so I could listen to the music that was playing. And it just happened. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fortuitous.
Well, now I will have to go back and finish watching the credits.
Yes, I recommend it. It's just like a nice little close end to a certain story that was not closed in the regular course of the film.
I'm assuming that it closes out Sunny.
Yeah, but okay, first off, what did we all think? Like, we never even addressed that.
It was enjoyable, but once again, I thought there was going to be more music, which is weird coming from me because I tend to not like musicals. But to drag at certain points where there should have been music. Like, I know that there's music supposed to be there, and so not hearing it kind of forced the story to drag a little bit for me.
Yeah, especially when they talked the scenes that were supposed to be music.
Yeah, which is weird because I tend to prefer that, but for some reason in this one it didn't feel right.
Because the music is so well done. The music from the stage show was so well done that having those scenes taken out and just spoken instead was upsetting.
Mm-hmm. I definitely understand that. Like, I enjoyed some of the talking scenes because they helped kind of break up the film, and I do feel like Hamilton was a lot of singing.
Well, Hamilton was basically an operetta.
Yeah, and
Hamilton was not a musical.
I feel like this struck a little bit better balance, even if it was missing some iconic songs that I perhaps do not know.
Yeah, so this was a musical. Hamilton was not a musical. Hamilton was an operetta. All right. So, in my opinion, because Hamilton is 90% sung. This was a musical. This was originally done on stage as a musical. Those other songs could have been kept in there and it still would have been a musical. That other character who should have been there could have stayed in and it still would have been a musical. You know, they did add a slight political piece to this, which was not in the original stage show.
Well, and they also took out a mention of a certain person.
Yeah, but they were going to have to do that anyway. So, Fox, the line, Donald Trump and I on the links and he's my caddy, you know, in the song 96,000.
Yeah.
Right? So he says Tiger Woods and I on the links and he's my caddy.
Yeah. They switched Tiger Woods.
I thought I heard Donald Trump when we got to hear the first 8 minutes, but maybe I'm crazy.
That song is not in the first 8 minutes.
Yeah. It was definitely Tiger Woods because I thought that was a strange turn of phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I was like, is that okay? I guess it's fine.
Yeah, that's what they did. They switched out that.
Well, they had to go with a famous golf person who had a short enough name, and Phil Nicholson just doesn't fit.
Phil Nicholson probably would have. Arnold Palmer,
Happy Gilmore.
Oh, that would have been funny.
I mean, seriously, you're going to go from a not too popular president to a not too popular golf player because of, infidelity and beating his wife and cheating and all the sorts of that. I don't think that was a wiser choice, but
I feel like it would have made more sense to leave Donald Trump in. I mean, we're talking about immigrants, like everything that just happened. Like, he's an overwhelmingly unpopular president. I don't think it would have gotten them in that much trouble.
I don't think it would have either, but that's the line that was changed. I mean,
Yeah.
there were several
And
other lines that were changed, but
That's the most noticeable one. If you've heard that song before.
yeah.
I do have to say the thing I loved the most about this film and adaptation is that I have never seen a piece of cinema or theater that so accurately represents a location and uses characters only as a driving force for that. Because personally, I don't actually care that much about any of the characters. I care that much about the location and the stories that spawned from that location.
Well,
I thought it was a brilliant bit of writing.
in stories like that, the location becomes a character.
Exactly.
It does.
That was the main character of the story.
Yeah.
Is the Heights.
It's interesting to me though, Usnavi being, I would say, the secondary character and having the Heights be the main character. It's never, his name is never explained in the same detail it is. It is
They mention it.
in like a passing moment while
And
he's
they use
storytelling to the
visual,
kids.
They use the visual part of it rather than
Right, but there's a song, Hundreds of Stories, that is cut from the movie, where they actually, say, remember the story of your name, and they explain how he got his name. And I'm in a couple of Broadway forums online, and somebody was like, so I just finished this movie and I really liked it and blah, blah, blah. Could somebody tell me how he got his name? And there's like this list of comments of people explaining, oh, it was on his hat or this or that. I'm like, you guys are all fucking stupid.
You didn't see the boat? You didn't see-
Well, first off, yes, the boat. Second, go to the source material.
Well, I know, but they show you with a rather, it's not a short scene. It's not like it's a cut-in scene. It's 5 seconds of footage kind of telling you the answer.
Yes, but I'm just
As
saying,
he's
like,
talking about it, you know?
you could go to the source footage. Source material. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. So this was Stash's idea of breaking us in slowly.
I never said that.
Yeah, you did.
I just said I wanted to bring up something that wasn't E3 at first because I want to break E3. No, but I was really curious about all your opinions because I thought it was an interesting contrast to something like, oh my God, it's gone.
Hamilton,
Thank you. Because Hamilton is so deeply character driven, and this one is driven by a setting and a location so much more that the way they fit together, I would love to see one back to the other, just to see that contrast fully displayed. I thought it was really interesting to have two very similar tonally plays that are expressed so differently in their film adaptations.
Well, I'm curious with this release how much the flaws will shine in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story.
ridiculously.
Because, I mean, given what we just saw, the bar is particularly raised now because he, like you said, Stash, it's a stark contrast between Hamilton and this. And now the next big comparison is going to be Spielberg's West Side Story. So I think Spielberg's going to get lit up again and just shown you don't need to be in this arena any longer. And that
No, I agree with you completely on that, Smurf. Lynn actually helped to do the revival of West Side Story back when the lights were still up on Broadway to transform all of the Sharks lyrics into Puerto Rican. And so, like, he has his handprints already on that on an adaptation of that. And so you're talking about two different pieces that he's already done. And he's actually working on another film adaptation that's going to come out on Netflix before West Side Story is released. And that is...
Oh, Spielberg's going to get flagged like a freaking damn it doll.
Yeah, so the Jonathan Larson story, Tick, Tick, Boom, is going to be coming out, and Lin-Manuel Miranda is working on that right now. This is the adaptation of Jonathan Larson's autobiographical Pre-Rent musical. And this is going to be for Netflix specifically. It's going to be starring Andrew Garfield, and it's incredible. It's all about the AIDS epidemic, and for those of you who are unfamiliar with Jonathan Larson, who died of AIDS right before Rent actually got to open. But like, so Lin Miranda is working on this right now.
Speaking of Andrew Garfield, I saw the most wildest trailer that I never thought I would ever see, and it's Through the Eyes of Tammy Faye Baker, and Andrew Garfield is playing Reverend Baker, Don Baker. No, that's not his first name. Anyway, the televangelist, and oh my God, his mannerisms are fucking killing me.
Are they?
Yes. Oh my God, it is hilarious. And it's it's like Through the Eyes of Tammy Faye, and like,
can she even see past all of those eyelashes?
Yes, it's hilarious. Oh my God! And I forgot he's playing Tammy Faye, but to see Andrew Garfield just kind of doing this simpleton act behind her, trying to be meek, is hilarious. So, but Andrew Garfield's got a lot of Broadway chops to him, so he'll be fine. I'm not worried about him at all.
Yeah, no, I'm not worried about him at all. It's just I think that it's going to be one more thing that Lin-Manuel Miranda is going to have going on before we see West Side Story.
Yep.
I mean, what an amazingly prolific creator at his age. Like, I am very impressed with how he is just slamming his way through like his 50s, early 50s, or late 40s.
He's in his 40s. Yeah.
I knew it was around there.
Yeah, I know he's gonna get the last letter that he needs for the PGOT.
I have confidence he will eventually. I mean, he's still got
like he's over the hill. He's in his late 40s.
You would think he is, but here he is being so prolific. It's like, in many ways, he's doing the exact opposite of what people do at that age. So,
no,
that's true.
Apparently, Stash believes that everybody older than him is just past their prime, and
no, I believe that a certain number of creative individuals tend to retire once they reach a certain age threshold, and that's just how it goes. I mean, you're most creative when you're younger. The older you get, the more rigidly defined your mental structure becomes.
Sure.
To a certain extent.
I mean, I'm not saying no one is creative in their 50s.
No, that is kind of what you're saying. You're saying the majority.
I'm just saying that the level that Lynn is operating at is very unusual for someone at this point in their life. Because he is just like roaring onto every possible scene he can. He's acting, he's singing, he's creating, he's directing, he's doing all of this stuff. And it is very impressive to see. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, I am only a lot of bit in love with him because he is ridiculously talented and just absolutely amazing. And I don't like his beard at all in the Heights. But other than that, we're good. And hi, Wesley. Thanks for joining us tonight.
All right. Well, do we have anything else we want to say about In the Heights before we move on?
No, we talked about Tick, Tick, Boom. We talked about In the Heights. We've talked about how Steven Spielberg is going to fall on his face. I feel like musicals have been covered for the evening.
All right. Well, Bobbi, what do you want to talk about before E3? Bring something up.
All right. Well, let's talk about the fact that Lego Masters needs to listen to us and our very creative and brilliant ideas about an OnlyFans Lego Masters. nude Lego building, because then maybe their viewer ratings wouldn't have dropped by 57%.
I think that's a product of a change in the world.
I agree. But still, I believe that if there were people, okay, maybe not this current cast that I'm looking at on their cast photo, but other people building Legos in the nude, more people would watch it. I don't know. Maybe some of these girls here in the front, they're really cute.
There's a couple of cuties.
I'm looking at their images. There's a couple.
Nerd brothers, the nerdy twins, probably not so much. The older brother and sister, the biker brother and sister that got eliminated last week, definitely don't need to see.
No, don't need to see them. But let's see. There's a couple good-looking people in this lineup.
Well, I mean, let's not get distracted here.
What? I'm just saying that I think that they would do better if they listened to our brilliant suggestion. I mean, it may be a little bit late for it at this point.
So. I mean, I am actually curious why they've seen such a substantial decrease in viewership. That is a huge drop for nothing really changing.
Well,
quarantine ended.
Quarantine changed.
Yeah, that makes that.
So rather than people being at home at the beginning of the summer, they're not.
Yeah,
I mean, it's still the same show, and you still have, Will Arnett doing the hosting, and I mean, maybe the first couple jokes were kind of okay, but I don't know. I think they're trying to cram too much with the special effects and the animation that they're doing. Maybe the challenges aren't as cool. I don't know. I mean, last week's was fun. They got to blow things up. But what was bothersome to me is that the explosions seemed rather overly controlled. And let me explain. Because you have this one that explodes in its slime, all right? And it comes out in a big, glob, like a big goober. And that's it. It didn't encase anything. It didn't, overflow anything. So it seemed rather overly planned. And it just wasn't as cool as Will Arnett taking a baseball bat to your Lego set, So
it's a little anticlimactic when something like that happens.
Yes. Or, let me drop it off the balcony and see what happens. Everybody's played that game. We still play that game. Hey, let's drop this off the balcony and see what happens.
There are whole YouTube channels dedicated to, if we drop it off the balcony and aim for the trampoline.
Exactly. I don't know if this week is going to be any better as they build sets to try to survive an earthquake, which looks kind of fun, but I like the storytelling elements. There were some great builds. The frog was awesome. The alien with the exploding ships was awesome. Other than that, it was just kind of What is what it is.
Gross.
But it is.
Stash hates that expression so bad.
Well, they're competing with great summer weather and the chance to be free after being cooped up after a year. Ratings are going to tank for everyone. I even think the Blacklist's ratings went down. I think everybody's went into the toilet. So
anything that was successful last summer is going to have a little bit of a drop this year.
Well, even the Bad Batch, their ratings are absolutely horrid.
Yeah,
it looks like nobody's watching the show.
Which
are you guys?
Yeah,
But my moment of geek today was, I think I'm watching the Bad Batch as I post the penguins from Madagascar. So, and everybody thought that was actually pretty funny. But it's not generating the buzz and interest that I think everyone was hoping for. Everyone was looking at COVID numbers, and when there's a chance to run, they're going to run.
It's kind of sad, though, because in Bad Batch, they had a pretty big return.
Yeah.
Last week for anybody that watched the Clone Wars, and it kind of sucks that it dropped off this week because it wasn't a huge lore dump, but there was a big chunk of the story that they're playing with now.
Yes.
So
Well, we knew it would happen. It was just a matter of when.
yeah, and it's actually interesting what they're doing with the story. So
I think a lot of it is just as Smurf said, we're going to see universal drops in viewing because we can get out and be free. Like, I went to my first, private barbecue over the weekend, and it felt really nice to get out of the house and just sit there and talk to people for a couple hours.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I did that last weekend. Went to a pool party at a friend's place. It was their housewarming. They have a pool in their backyard. God, it was so nice. So nice.
Yeah, this was a tiki party that had a slip and slide and a hot.
Yeah, I don't do slip and slides or any sort of inflatable water toys ever again.
well, and we actually had a con this weekend. I wasn't able to attend because I was working at my job, but we had a con in Colorado Springs. The Comic and Toy Con happened.
I was there.
There was a decent amount of people from what I've heard.
Yeah, it had a decent turnout. So Dre says got high, missed both Bad Batch and Lego Masters. She wants to know if she should go back and rewatch.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Bad
Shut
Batch.
up. You didn't even watch them.
Dre, go back. Get on Disney Plus, rewatch Bad Batch and Lego Masters. Where can we find that on streaming?
That's
It's
on
probably on Hulu.
Yeah, it should
There
be
you
okay.
go.
Or if you got Comcast, it's on demand. That's how I have to watch it.
We got you.
That's how I watched it. It was on demand.
Yeah, but actually, not only did we have the Comic and Toy Con in Colorado Springs that I was able to go to with two of our young proteges that help us out here on the cast, young Ella and her bestie, who gave away all of our business cards that we had left over from last year, so need to order more. Because they had a lot of fun with that.
How was the con though, Bobby?
Tiny.
Well,
And-
it was the same weekend as E3, so that makes sense.
Well, it was also the same weekend as the All Seas event happening up here in Denver. But no, not just like the lack of attendees, but like the number of vendors and cosplayers, like people with actual tables.
Well, I know some people that were invited and they turned down their invitations.
Yeah, so if you guys remember Colorado Springs Comic-Con of 19, it was held in the same space so Comic and Toy Con was held in the same space that the Colorado Springs Comic-Con was held in. But only on one floor, right? So they didn't have both floors. And they only had vendors along the outside edge.
Oh, wow. Whereas with the
Yeah.
Comic-Con,
Only on the outside edge. The center only had the Toys for Tots train in the middle. That was it.
Wow.
That's weird.
That's not true. They had the 501st set up in the middle for photos.
Yeah, that's still a small show, though.
It was so tiny. It was so tiny.
Did they have any PlayStations? Like any areas for actually
No
playing
gaming spots set up. Nothing.
Not a thing. Nary a thing.
It was nice to see some of my old con people. You know, we definitely had that moment of, oh my God, you're not dead.
And honestly, it's not a big surprise that it wasn't huge. It's the first one in this area, really. I mean,
Yeah.
But it also
trying,
was not the most organized ever. So Tank and I actually had a discussion after last week's show because I thought the con was free because on their Facebook page it said free admission. On their website it said $5 at the door, or you could, I guess, pre-purchase tickets. At the door, they were cash only, and they were giving out these little blue raffle tickets as your ticket for entry.
Okay.
So there were people who were leaving the con after 15 minutes and just giving those blue tickets to people walking around.
Oh, ouch.
I mean, that isn't really surprising, but
That is not a smart way to do that.
no, it's not. Those plans are a thing for a reason.
Ouch.
Yeah.
You know what? It serves them right. It really does.
So is this the same people who ran it previously?
No.
Yeah, the ones that ran it out of that hotel, it's the same ones.
Oh, is it the same ones that were running it out of the whatever that hotel is that I can
Radisson or whatever it was over there.
I thought it was out of the DoubleTree.
Maybe it's a DoubleTree, but regardless, it is the same. It's the same group. It's not their first rodeo. And
Well,
they've done
it
this
sure
show
did
before.
feel like a first rodeo. It was a mess.
Well, maybe someone decapitated the head on that one, and there's a new person in charge or something.
It's
I
not.
mean,
It's
and
and they screwed up that badly.
Yes.
Wow.
I heard all about it. So people who went to the toy and comic show in the Springs ended up coming to where I was at the All Seas Fan Expo, which was free to attend rather quickly after attending that show. So I heard a lot of the overflow and problems and everything that Bobby's explaining. So
Yeah.
I heard in detail what went
Well,
on. So
we have a lot of pictures.
I heard a little bit about it.
I'm sure that the girls probably told you some on Sunday.
Very little. Most of what I heard was from people that ended up coming down to the flea market where we had our little pavilion set up. A lot of the people that were in the pavilion, well, with me, were actually supposed to be vendors there and didn't go.
they probably made more money. Actually, there was a vendor that was at the All Seas Expo who lives in the Springs and would rather drive to our expo than set up at the toy one in the Springs.
well,
I
that makes sense with the 100 people that showed up to the one in the Springs.
I talked to a bunch of the vendors that were there at the one in the Springs, and they were saying, it's not bad for the first one back. And then I talked to a couple of the vendors that I know,
And they told you the truth.
and they were like, Bobbi, the only reason we're here is to see you.
See, I was unfortunately told by customers of mine that some of the vendors at the toy and comic convention were being a bit aggressive with their pricing.
You think?
Oh, that's running rampant.
Like more than normal. There's always a surplus at cons. There's always a little bit of a bump in the price. But apparently it was more than normal.
Well, okay, so there are some vendors who are like special con pricing, and then they'll put like a fake price, and then they'll put the discounted price that they've put up for the con, right? There was one vendor who put their discounted con price as 95 cents less. Right? So normal
95
price.
cents less than what?
Normal price $15.95. Con price $15.
Oh, so they were selling figures. Which
No.
those figures
Those were books.
for what kind of books? Trades?
No, chapter books.
Just comics. The comic book pricing is completely out of control. I saw it all weekend. I even got away with one. So I can't complain. But the recent Rona spurge that we have seen in the collector's world continues. as the con startup. So everyone is still charging the Rona pricing that the pandemic encouraged. So
See, I heard it was over that. Like, we know that there's a spike, and that's been happening steadily. But I heard that the pricing was even over what has been the pricing lately.
Some of the people that are pricing their books are pricing them as if they were slabbed books.
Yeah,
and
that's what I was hearing. Is that people were trying to charge graded prices for Raws, and I was like, that's not going to happen at any.
It did. It did.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a First Miles Morales go for $500. I sold my Young Avengers #1 for $450.
So we have a comment that just came in that says, what language are you speaking? Toys, like the fun ones that buzz?
Some of them probably do. Some of them light up. Some of them buzz. Most of them have karate action.
But
they have kung fu grip.
Mm-hmm.
If it were the kind of toys that you're talking about, I have a feeling that the con would have been better attended.
Yeah.
It's true.
Everyone definitely left with a smile.
Do you think we'll see a return to traditional pricing sometime soon? Or do you think they're going to try and ride this COVID high as long as they can?
They're going to ride it crashes. Yep.
Ride it till it
crashes. It's going to bump up everything in cons. If comics go up, then that means, stuffed animals will go up.
Yes.
DVDs will go up. Action figures, all that stuff is going to be severely inflated.
Well, that has gone up. Hasbro increased their prices again.
Yes. So a figure that's already coming out, like the one I just showed, is normally $50 if you can find it in Target or Walmart. Now everyone at the con is selling them anywhere from $60 to $75. G.I. Joe figures that just came out that are $20 are already up to $45 to $50.
Well, and they raised I talked to a few people around here. The 2 distribution price has gone up for action figures, even for like the Legends and the Selects and stuff like that. And this is after pre-sales. So now the vendors and retailers have to either increase their price that they've already pre-sold, which is you have to pay more when you pick it up, or they get stuck with what they already sold it for, which basically killed the profit margin.
Yeah. Here's the funny part of it. You can pay more for a newer action figure than you can for some of the vintage stuff. Some of the vintage stuff is going cheaper than the newer stuff that's being released.
Yeah.
Which is overproduced.
Yeah.
So Smurf, if you made $450 on one comic book, that means you're buying me a drink, right?
I'll make you a drink. I'll buy you a drink. Hell, I'll buy you a couple of bottles, whatever you like.
It's Pride, which is basically gay Christmas. So come on, guys. Presents. Gimme.
If you come by the bar, I will be more than happy to make you a cocktail. And I'll give you a walk-away gift.
Which bar and when? I will pick Fox up and we will make that shit happen.
Come to the bar at the studio.
All right, done.
I would like to check out the studio. That sounds pretty dope.
We've got more stuff added to it. We got a new sponsor that we'll be repping for that I will be presenting at the Nightclub and Liquor Con the 29th and 30th in Vegas. So I will be on stage in Vegas presenting to all of the local and national clubs across the country.
Ooh,
fabulous.
Fancy.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Also, you suck.
It's going to be a very fun couple of days, but we do have the new bar. We do have the new sponsor. We have a whole lot of stuff. Bobbi's actually done a photo shoot for P3 in the studio space. She actually even wrestled my microphone between her voluptuous breasts, which they still carry a certain scent, if you will.
I can't wait to see that. And you can see that too if you join P3, become a noble.
Absolutely.
Petfet.com.
Absolutely. But it's a fun place, and I'll let you guys know more as we get closer to it. I'll probably even snap a couple of pics, but yeah, it's a busy day.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
Stash, are you ready to dive headfirst into E3, or you want to go over some more stuff that we have on the agenda?
We've got 20 minutes left. Just let him go. He wants to.
Let's roll it.
Look how antsy he is in that fucking chair. Just let him go.
I think he's just got a
It's
swimming
not my video game chair.
Put the time in him. We're ready for the whole song.
All right, so E3 started technically on Saturday, but there was the Summer Game Fest, which overlaps with it. So the pre-show started on Thursday, and that show was 2 different days, and it also encapsulates a couple of other events afterwards. And we have gotten so many fucking announcements. Like, the E3 we didn't have last year has definitely, it has come back with interest because 2 different days and it was so many fucking announcements. I am like, the
It's happening
E3
again.
we didn't have last year
God
has
damn it.
definitely.
There.
There you go.
All right.
Now start over and exactly repeat everything that you just said with the same tonality from the beginning.
Oh, don't worry. It was recorded in speakers, so.
So this is like the vengeance of E3.
But no, E3 has been just massive this year. The sheer number of press conferences. I have been watching nothing but press conferences since Thursday, and my eyes hurt, and I'm tired. And, like, I haven't been sleeping well because, like, I didn't even see them all because I missed some. Because I slept through them because they started so early in the damn morning. It's like, this E3 has been very interesting. I think in many ways it's what E3 is going to evolve into in the future because I don't think we're going to see the giant in-person conventions in quite the same way we did, especially with a video game convention. But overall, I think it's been outstanding. It has just been incredibly difficult to try and keep up with. What about you guys? Any thoughts on it so far?
I felt like it had quite a bit of unnecessary filler, but I just wanted to get to the good stuff personally. For most of the like major game studios, I was honestly not that impressed with what I saw. Nothing too exciting. More for people who like things like Far Cry and Halo. If that's your jam, then that was very exciting. I'll tell you what really tickled my pickle though is all of the indie game announcements.
There
I
were
really-
so many.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Day of the Devs. I have pages of notes, so I'm going to try to keep this brief. A few games that really caught my interest were, and if you know me, you won't be surprised, Stash.
Yes.
Garden Story, obviously, coming out
I
this
was
year.
actually going to send that to you.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. Road 96 looks like a fun one.
That
The
one looks
Wandering
really interesting.
Yeah, it looks fucked up and like really engrossing.
Yes.
Wandering Village, Unbeatable, Death's Door, the one where you're like a little crow Grim Reaper.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, so there's been like a lot of like retro aesthetic shown.
Yeah, retro got really big about 6 years ago, and we're kind of like in the mid part of that resurgence.
All right.
Yeah.
Mark says, sorry, Fox, says Final Fantasy Jack against Chaos looks fun, but full of awful characters and dialogue.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed.
Yeah, none. Square Enix press conference outside of Guardians of the Galaxy was very disappointing.
Yeah. But I was going to mention with the retro aesthetic, one game that I think does it really well is that horror game Walk. It looks really fucked up.
I don't know if I saw that one. I could.
It's the one where you play as a young Japanese girl walking home and just like trying not to get caught by this like really fucked up monster. I don't think I can play it, but I would love to watch someone else play it.
That's like the children keep dying, which is really weird.
I mean, I saw a tremendous amount of horror and suspense titles this year, and it makes sense with like a year of COVID. Everyone has like this emotional tension, and that is very good fuel for games like that. But at the same time, I'm like, I kind of want my Monster Hunter, my Monster Rancher games and stuff like that. Things that are just upbeat and happy that will help me forget about this shit show of the year that
Well,
I just experienced.
they announced Slime Rancher 2.
They did, and it looks so ridiculous.
It looks so good! It is very over the top in the best way.
Oh, it really is. And, like, it's unreal that it's just another game on Game Pass. But it looks super fun, very interesting. It's nice to see, like, a plethora of children's games, because sometimes those get skipped over in E3, but because we had so many indie and smaller broadcast panels this year, we saw a lot of indie titles. I don't think I've ever seen this many.
River, sorry. I apologize.
No. River. We all love and understand. Some of us understand more than others.
So anyway, they announced Oxenfree 2. I'm so excited.
It looks so
excited.
It looks so. Did you watch the gameplay?
No, I haven't yet.
Because there was a little bit of gameplay after the press conference, and I was just sitting there watching it, being like, "This is so weird."
I want it. I'll watch it right after we're done. Yeah, I'm excited about that one.
All right. One of our viewers, Dre, says, geez, my first game was Seventh Guest. Wait, no, Atari, Number Cruncher, the 2000.
Oh, fuck me. My first game? I don't even know what my first game was. Shit, man. Something on the NES.
The first one I remember was Dark Savior on the Sega Saturn.
God, what
Dre,
would it have been?
Smurf is kind of like feeling what you're putting down right now, whereas
Tell me, Smurf, what game was your first game? Did it come in color, or was it just green?
Was it Pong? Yeah.
Ooh.
Pong on the Atari. Yeah.
I still have my original Atari 2600. And I also had a Commodore 64. And I had the ColecoVision. So,
yep.
First video game I remember playing that I got like super into was on a computer that my dad helped build for me when we were stationed out in DC the first time when we were on the Maryland side. And it was the Winter Olympics. It was in the green screen, right? And had the joystick, and you had to use the mouse at the same time. And to get the perfect sit spin, you had to push the button on the joystick and spin and push space bar. So her leg went out. Otherwise, the Russian judge gave you a low score. If you only had her sit while she was spinning, you had to have the leg out with the toe pointed. Otherwise, you got low scores.
The fucking Russian judge.
I'm telling you, this was 1989.
I'm wondering, probably Road Rash on Sega?
Dre says, you young folks, get out of my yard.
It would have to be either Road Rash or Sonic, because I had a Sega first. So
I agree. All you young punks, get off my lawn.
All right. Well, I actually have some pretty detailed notes about this, so we can kind of go in order if you don't mind me leading the discussion and just like asking you guys questions.
You can, or I can as well. I have it as well.
We talked a little bit about Day of the Devs. If anybody has any final words about that before we move on to day one.
Pretty good press conference.
Yeah, it's.
I will say. Yeah.
Expansive.
Is day one the
Ubisoft.
pre-show? Oh, okay, that's technically day two.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yes. It's E3's day one, but it's like the Summer
Okay.
Games Fest did the pre-show.
All right.
But Summer Games Fest, like the big performance, the big thing they had was they just had, oh my god, Elden Ring. They announced Elden Ring's release date and trailer, which is probably the most hyped game of last year and continuing through this year. And the fact it was announced there was very interesting, and it looks incredible. It is so dark and spooky and scary. It is the game that was written by George R.R. Martin and created by the developers who create Dark Souls and Demon Souls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it is a Souls-like game with the lore from George R.R. Martin, which I
That
think is
doesn't buy it any credit. I'm sorry. Ever since George R.R. Martin can't fucking finish a goddamn story, I'm not putting a whole lot of faith in him able to write a complete video game. The graphics might be great, the characters look awesome, but you know what? Martin wrote it. I'm gonna wait for judgment because I have no faith at all in that project.
I don't know. I mean, everything I've seen looks great, and the thing is, you can't make a game with your writer just sitting in the background. He needs to write it, or they need to find someone else, because a game can't wait to be created.
So somebody else wrote it, and
That's
he
not
got
how
credit.
development works. So
Well, no, they're saying he had a lot of he had a lot of involvement in it, apparently.
Okay.
yeah, that's what they're thinking, and it looks like, if you've seen the trailer, it looks like his influence is pretty heavy on there.
Yeah, it looks like what would happen if you mashed Game of Thrones with
We'll
Demon
see.
Souls.
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls, Demon Souls, one of those. It's basically a spiritual successor to that line of games.
You had me. They had me until they said George R.R. Martin, and then I was like, no, arms up in the air. No, no, no.
I don't know.
You can't finish a book.
Because video games
You can
are
finish
writing
a
video
book.
games.
You just can't finish more than that without rambling on like a crazed motherfucker.
And how many penises are we going to see in the making of this video game? How many penises gave up their lives to finish this video game?
Not
How
enough.
many points are there?
Not enough
All right,
penises
well-
have died for this creation.
All right, well, let's continue with
Into Ubisoft.
let's continue with E3 coverage, because we have a ton to get through.
All right. Ubisoft.
Mhm.
It was
Thank you,
boring
Dre.
as shit. It was boring as shit, but it was really cool to see the Avatar game. And it's really interesting that they're creating an Avatar game that is a live service game that they're trying to continue with the movies. So the game is supposed to evolve as the movies come out, which I think is very interesting.
I'd
It's
say it was
just not
interesting if it hadn't aired on already.
Yeah, it's not necessarily an IP that matters anymore, because it's been so long since the last Avatar.
Since
Or
the
the
only Avatar. Let's just
Yes.
put that out there. I would be fine with it if we had more material other than a movie. So
Well,
the fact
they're
that
supposed to incorporate the second movie, and it's supposed to come out right around the same time as the second movie.
I'm going to be 100% honest. I see Defiance Part 2 happening.
Ugh.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I have thoughts about the second movie coming out.
You don't think it'll actually happen until we're all dead?
pretty much.
Because
I
he's
think it'll
writing the
happen.
second,
I
third,
just don't
and
think
fourth
it's gonna
movie
be
all at
good.
the same time.
Avatar, a generation in the making.
Yeah, like literally, he's doing 3 movies at once.
No, Dre, that was not the Airbender thing. We do not talk about that movie. That movie does not exist. There was no Airbender movie.
We're gonna see him walk out with, tissue boxes on his feet and a jar full of piss pretty soon, I think.
Probably. Well, what else was Ubisoft? Wasn't Guardians Ubisoft?
No, Guardians is Square Enix.
Yeah. For Ubisoft, we had Far Cry 6.
Which
Dude, the last Far Cry was difficult as fuck. I don't know if I'm ready for a 6.
This one looks with Giancarlo. I think it looks really, really good. It's just Far Cry isn't known for being innovative.
No.
They're always just kind of good shooters, so we'll see.
I have never played a Far Cry game. I have never wanted to play a Far Cry game. I kind of want to play Far Cry 6. I'm a little concerned about how they're going to handle the politics, and a little worried about that. But
decent
there was a big announcement that they did say they are going to embrace the politics and make it politically oriented.
are they going to address the fact that America is the reason that this country is like this?
Well, I don't know. We'll see when the game comes out. But they originally were trying to say it's a non-political game, and then everyone was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Does anybody remember? Far Cry's history is kind of geared towards fighting against everything, like traditional society in every conceivable way.
Yeah,
Far Cry 5 was basically based around right-wing psychopaths taking over a small town.
Yeah, you're running for most of that game.
Yeah, they do not give a fuck what anyone's feelings are about politics.
I know, which is the interesting thing that they tried to make it non-political at first. I was like, okay.
I think they were just trying to. I think that was backlash from what happened with Far Cry 5.
I think it was too, but I'm glad they finally turned their shit around and were like, okay, this is going to be political. How can you create something like this that isn't political?
Well, yeah, and they're very counterculture, especially in the way they approach their games. I mean, I don't see they're not innovative in the way that the game plays, but they do take risks in the story they're willing to tell sometimes.
They do.
So it should be fun at least, even if it's the basic same basic shit that Far Cry always is.
All right, we need to move along because we have so much more to cover.
Assassin's Creed is getting an update. Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah, new expansion.
Vikings in Ireland. I'm into it.
Yeah, it looks really good, and they just released a new DLC, so it's kind of shocking that they're already announcing another one.
It's a pretty fun game, though. So I would say that.
Yeah.
Dre says the Adored Ones got greenlit. Dre, are you talking about a video game that I'm not aware of? You guys know the Adored Ones?
Doesn't ring a bell.
I don't remember.
Oh no, she's talking about a Marvel movie. Never mind, she's completely off topic. Continue with the E3 discussion.
Speaking of movies that are relevant, though, Werewolves Within was announced. The trailer was dropped.
Dude, it looks so good.
It does, and I'm really excited because I love Sam Richardson, who is in I Think You Should Leave Now, the sketch comedy show, and Detroiters. He is so funny.
Well, that movie looks hilarious. I am so excited to see it. I mean, we'll see how it goes. Video game movies aren't known for being great, but they also, that game was a medieval game, and they brought it into the modern era, so clearly they don't hold the game to any real standards. They're just like, we'll do whatever we want, throw the name on there.
Yeah.
Anything else for Ubisoft or Day 2, technically?
Not big. Nothing worth mentioning.
All right. Next up was Xbox, Bethesda, and Square Enix.
Jesus, they had a field day.
Yeah, they did. So I think this was one of the best press conferences that we have ever gotten from a video game company, period. Like, they did an exceptional job. They just had banger after banger after banger on games.
Well, and they got
They had a whole year to prepare. It should be. Jesus.
Well, and we got our first Xbox exclusive Bethesda title.
Yes, which I told you today. As soon as I saw it written on there and they brought it up like 5 times, I was like, oh, doggy. I am going to grind this into Tank's face on Monday.
It's so short-sighted, though. I don't understand.
It's not short-sighted at all.
We explained it to you.
So the thing is, I think Xbox, well, I know, Xbox is pushing to put their app on anything. So eventually, in, I don't know, a few more years, I envision you're going to be playing these games on your phone. You're not going to need a console. And they want to promote Game Pass. That's what all of this is for, is to grow Game Pass.
You can already link your Xbox to your phone and play like portions of the game already on your phone. It's where Xbox is pushing the marketplace. Make no doubt about it. They know exactly what they're doing. This is they have an agenda and they're pushing that agenda.
Yeah, it's a huge deal, and it makes sense because I don't think they're ever going to reach the console saturation that PlayStation has. It's like, but now they're not playing that game anymore. Now they're like, okay, we're going to have so many games that you need to at least have Game Pass. And if they have your $15 a month, that's enough for them.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a brilliant marketing strategy. They're trying to become the Netflix of gaming, and they're succeeding, and there's no competition for them yet. It's a brilliant strategy, even if it's one I don't necessarily love.
I don't like what they did with the Fallout announcements.
You mean the update to New Vegas, or shit, what's it called?
So
76, yeah.
Yeah,
the problem is the pit already exists. It was Fallout 3. That was.
I know. I was kind of excited that they were going back to the pit, though. I was like, all right, let's do it bigger and better. Although I don't give a shit about Fallout 76.
I'm wondering if they're going to do it bigger and better. It's literally going to be an updated system and like, oh, here you go, same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
that irritated me in a way that I didn't expect, I will say.
Yeah, but I think we've seen the last 4 consoles. I think we're going digital. Xbox is going to push us. They're going to make us go into it. And I don't know if Fallout
You've been saying that for a year, since the last round of consoles were announced. You had said then that was going to be the last round of consoles.
Yep, and Xbox is just kind of reaffirming it with what they released and are pushing at the E3.
Well, it might be their last line of consoles. Nintendo's never going to stop making consoles.
Nintendo's not, but they got a different niche. I mean, they're family, they're kid oriented. That's their target. If PlayStation's got to come up with something. PlayStation's not going to be left behind by Xbox.
Oh no, and I'm assuming that they stepped away this year again from E3, but they have to have their state of play coming soon. I'm assuming it's got to be coming up in the near future.
I believe they said towards the end of the month is going to be the state of play.
Yep. I will say Hades coming to the Game Pass is really.
That is a big deal. One of the best games of last year, and it is coming starting to Game Pass.
Yeah, Game Pass on the 13th of August. I was like, well, that's a big swing.
That was a huge swing. I did not expect that. I've been waiting for that game. And the funny thing is, it's coming to Game Pass the same time it's coming to Sony, which means that you can get it for free on Xbox with Game Pass, or you can pay for it.
Yeah, which is essentially what they did with the MLB The Show already.
Yep, they did that with MLB The Show. They did it with Outriders. New games, and it's that's their big pitches for Game Pass. It's not necessarily that you can only play it there. It's that
you can play it for free.
Play it there for free.
Well, and
Why
then
own
they
the game?
did,
You can rent it. Infinity and beyond.
and what they did with Halo by basically giving Halo Infinite the COD Warzone treatment. It's like, oh, the multiplayer's free.
Yeah.
Don't have to pay for anything. Just come on in. Multiplayer's free.
And it's a great way to build out your roster of players. Like, why wouldn't you play it?
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of a reason. It's like, I'm probably going to give it a shot. I'm not a big Halo fan, but like, obviously, I have Game Pass, so it's like, that's kind of irrelevant in that regard because I get the story for free.
Anyway,
Also.
because
But
Xbox.
the fact they're doing everything to bring people into that game is a really big deal. I'm really curious to see how it goes. They went into a deep conversation about it today. I didn't have a chance to watch it just because I had too much to watch, and there's a couple of things I needed to rewatch before we spoke about things. But Halo was a big move. I mean, we didn't even talk about like Starfield being the very first thing they come out with.
Oh yeah,
The Bethesda game, and Tom Howard came out. Like the Bethesda head came out and introduced Microsoft, and it's forcing people to see how close these studios are now. It's no longer Bethesda and Microsoft, it's them together as one.
Well, and that
One
was
big happy family.
Yep.
yeah. That's
They
what
all
they
sit
did.
around and sing Kumbaya.
Yeah. And it's awesome to see because that's a lot of what Xbox needed. And like the games they had that like they get from those studios is incredible. I'm looking for one specific one.
Orders 2021.
No, the something extra, the red something.
Redfall.
Redfall.
Yes, the vampire one. Like that's a Bethesda game too.
Yep.
It's like they bookended the Microsoft press conference. Bethesda did, not to mention a few other things they had scattered through. It's like that is an incredible level of integration for a purchase that just finalized this year. I mean, it's very, very big, and it's Microsoft's big move for the future.
On that, it's so many other things. I mean, they did Psychonauts.
Oh,
It's so
I've been wanting to
exciting.
bring that up so bad.
Yeah, Psychonauts 2. Come on, that's huge.
Oh, what has
I
it been,
had
like
nightmares
15
about-
years?
I had nightmares about the meat circus for years.
That's horrifying and not surprising.
Hey, it was like this level I could not get past in the first game. And it just gave me nightmares.
Back for Blood, which is basically just Left 4 Dead 3.
Yeah, what makes it different from Left 4 Dead?
Left 4 Dead, Left 4 Dead is technically owned by the people who make Steam. I can't remember that studio.
Engineers.
Sorry?
Engineers, cooks, scientists, people who make steam.
No, you're being exceedingly unhelpful, but I appreciate it.
Monkey, horse, panda.
No.
Flesh Fair.
Regardless.
Oh
Okay,
my God.
but
Keep
so
fucking with him.
all the creators of the Left 4 Dead still wanted to make another game, but they lost the rights to the IP. So they couldn't make another Left 4 Dead. So they went and made in their own studio, they made essentially a clone that was a better version of that game.
Well, it's Valve, by the way.
Thank you, for fuck's sake. That's all I was looking for.
Valve.
I thought we were just yelling different things.
Well, I wanted to actually answer his question so he didn't blow his brains out later.
Dre suggested Flesh Fair.
because they lost the rights.
Although
they have
now
to
I
just
kind of want to
enough
organize an
separate.
event called that.
Well, when Valve had their whole thing happen, yeah, a
Where
lot of
they
those
stopped making
rights kind of went sideways.
Mhm. So that's why Back for Blood exists. And the interesting thing is it's coming out day one on Game Pass, and it is not a Microsoft IP.
It is
And that
not
is
technically, but isn't the company that
No, it is not affiliated with Microsoft at all.
I thought it was.
Hang on. I just saw the name of the company on my list.
Well, they probably figure if they play nice with them, they'll get, preferential treatments, and
It's
they
Turtle
get
Rock.
invited to the family. So
Well, it's Turtle Rock, who is the one who made the Left 4 Dead game for Valve. Turtle Rock
Right.
Studios. They've been partnered with Microsoft before, so it's not a surprise. I think this is Microsoft gave them the money to make this game, essentially.
Oh, I don't know. I bet you
Microsoft is a co-developer for the game. Microsoft Studios.
It doesn't say that?
Yeah.
Interesting. That is,
Even though it's not an Xbox exclusive, it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah,
That's
they
cool.
developed with them to make this.
Okay, so because I know Microsoft is sponsoring a bunch of stuff because they want to support Game Pass. So
And I think this is one
that's
of those.
probably why this happened.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a perfect game because Left 4 Dead,
God, that was so much fun.
it was, but there isn't a whole lot to those games.
No. And that's why
It's
they
just
work.
you running around killing zombies and trying to survive for as long as you can.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that you can jump in for 20, 30 minutes and in and out without having some huge storyline to follow.
Yeah, and that's why it's a perfect Game Pass game because you don't have to spend the $60, $70 for it. You can just play it whenever you want. I mean, I imagine they're probably going to take it off Game Pass at some point because it isn't technically owned by Microsoft, but you're probably going to get at least 6 months to a year of free play.
I was going to say that's usually how it works, though, with them. They have a game for 6 to 12 months on their pass, and then if it's owned by another company, they let it go.
Yep. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I'm really excited for that game. It looks super fun. They had their own press conference that was 20 minutes long. That was just about their PvP. That looked really interesting.
And then Xbox, leaning into the joke with the mini fridge announcement. I will say I appreciated that.
I kind of want it so bad.
I'm going to interrupt
I kind of want it so bad.
Because it's kind of turning into the Stash and Tank show.
Sorry.
Which we love you guys. Fox had some great information before, but at this point, I'm just taking notes on what you guys are saying, and I'm lost.
There's one other thing that I wanted to bring up from the
you can tell I'm super not a console gamer because plus there's also the fact that I worked all weekend and did not watch any of E3.
Fox?
Yeah, there's one more thing that I wanted to bring up from the Microsoft Day, and that is Life is Strange 2. It looks so good.
It does. It looks, it's technically, it's Life is. They did the prequel series after they did the first series, so.
You got a new power?
You do, and if you get the deluxe version, you get the upscaled version of the last 2 Life of Stranges for free.
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew that they were releasing them, but I didn't realize you could buy it all in a bundle.
Yep, they're up-resing them, so they're just a little prettier. They're still pretty ugly, but they're prettier than they were.
The new one is very pretty.
Yes, it is. And I think shit. What's it? Her ability is essentially empathy. I think that's a very interesting dynamic for storytelling, and it just makes me think of Psychonauts because that's essentially like the gist of Psychonauts. You're using your power to go into people's heads. It's the same power. It's just very, very different totally.
Mm-hmm.
All
Not
right.
wrong.
Anything else from day? What is that? Technically day 3.
Yeah. It's It's like really weird to think because it's like technically day 2, but it's also kind of like day 3 if you count the pre-show.
Yeah.
So, do we count the pre-show or no?
I think we should because we got big announcements at it.
Okay.
But it's technically not part of it. So.
All right. How about today? Was that today or yesterday?
Let's go yesterday still because we need to talk about Square. Because we need to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy because that game looks amazing. It looks like so much fun.
Can't wait to play Star-Lord. Oh, yeah.
Dude, that's your text alert on my phone is Star-Lord.
This is a very different Star-Lord. It's heavily influenced by the comics and it's very different. It's the same tonally. The music choice is just as great.
They did the Hero also. Bonnie Tyler. Hold on to a Hero or whatever that's called.
I need a hero?
Yes.
I'm holding out for a hero.
Off of the Footloose soundtrack originally.
Yeah, I'm holding out for a hero.
Yes, that one.
But I mean, I was really surprised to see this game and to see them make a single player game where you don't directly control the rest of the Guardians. I thought was very interesting and it looks very well done.
It seems like it's kind of like Dragon Age kind of feel.
Yeah,
you can command your people in the moment.
Yeah, that's actually a really good reference, Fox.
Sometimes I have smart things to say.
Often, you have smart things
You
to say.
very often have smart things to say. I just like it better when you make dinosaur dick jokes. And Dre
I
says,
do too, honestly.
Dre says, Guardians of the Galaxy was awesome. She is a very big fan of the soundtrack.
So we'll see what this game turns out. It's coming out like at the end of this year, not even the very end of this year. I think it's like August or September. So
it's like late Q3, early Q4.
Yeah, so we're getting it not too very long, and it looks really fun. I think it's going to be the game I pre-order.
Oh, and it's made by the same people that do Dos Ex, right? It's the IDOS group out of Montreal. Yes, it is. IDOS Montreal.
So, yeah.
So it's the same ones that do Dos Ex.
Yeah.
Or Do X, or however.
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex. That group of games.
I thought you were referencing the alcohol, and I was so confused.
Yeah, it's made by the same people who do Dos Ex. A Dos Equis made game.
But yeah, we'll see. I mean, everything I've seen so far looks promising. I'm excited. We'll see how things go.
Well, and it looks like it might have taken some inspiration from Mass Effect, I guess.
Yeah.
Where there is choice, like there is kind of a choice-driven structure to it.
It does. I mean, the flip-flopping behind Groot and Rocket on who is the better prisoner, which, let's be fair, Rocket should have been in the cage. I thought that was very interesting dynamic. I'm curious if we'll maybe get, branching ends of the game. It'd be nice for replayability.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's DLCs of the other characters that kind of intertwine or like side missions and stuff like that for that game.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited to see where it goes. It was one big announcement that I should have expected, but I didn't.
I didn't either, honestly. That one surprised me a little bit.
Yeah. The rest of Square's, like, their press conference was kind of boring and small. And, like, a little lame if we're being 100% honest. And I still don't know why they aren't
the king of the
announcing.
sugarcoating.
But I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying to remember what the other press conference was that day, but if I can't remember it, it isn't worth mentioning.
Fox, is it in your notes?
Yeah.
What? Sorry.
Do you know what came after the Square Enix?
Apparently it wasn't interesting enough for me to write it down.
Oh, there we go.
All right, if nobody remembers.
There you go.
I don't either. I have no idea.
Let's talk about this new console that was announced today, the Amico.
It's been announced for a while, but
Yeah.
it's weird. And
It
it's
is.
a very good.
I'm certainly not going to get one, but there are a couple of things that I kind of like. It's kind of like innovative. They're doing some interesting things, and they do not allow loot boxes, which I'm like, fuck yeah, take a stand against predatory gambling. I really appreciate that. So that's all I really have to say about it.
I mean, I'm curious. Hang on, I'm trying to pull up a picture of it, make sure I actually know.
Yeah, this is the one that's made by Intellivision.
Yeah, I just don't remember what it looks like. Bing is like the worst. But I do know they're the ones that are releasing their games on like a monthly cycle.
Yeah.
And like they just randomly drop new games for you, which is I think a very interesting idea. Unfortunately, we're not going to see any real success with a new console like this.
Well, and they're not.
It's just going to be a specialty item.
And this is going to exist in the same vein as the NES Mini and the stuff like that, I think, because it's not really new games. They're mostly.
Oh, there is a new game though. A new Earthworm Jim with the original team.
Yeah, a lot of it is. A lot of the games that are going to be part of it are going to be based in they're either going to be revisions of old school stuff or, reimaginings.
Well, I was excited about Earthworm Jim, but fine.
I will agree with Earthworm Jim. Is that a reason to buy a console to play Earthworm Jim?
Did they say a price point?
They have before, but I don't remember
what it is.
I was like, I would pay $150 for that and no more.
I think it's actually pretty close to that. I think it might be a little bit more, but not much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's essentially just an Intellivision that they've, for lack of a better word, retropied.
Yeah.
And that's about it. It's cool if you want to play some of the older games. It's a good way to do it, to get a bunch of them at once, and to have them take the same path that Nintendo did, and just update like they did with their online version of the NES Mini, and just do monthly updates to it. So it'll work. People will buy it. I probably will eventually play some of those older games.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice having the options to do so. I don't necessarily know if I will ever take advantage of it because that's not really my stick. This is more for people of Smurfs demographic. But
is that true?
it's cool. Yeah, it's cool to see those markets are still viable. And
do you have any interest in buying an Amico?
You can buy the mini NES or mini NES 2 or the mini Commodore, or I mean, I've seen it before. It's not a reason to buy a console if it doesn't come with the games loaded on it, especially for the price point. And not that long ago, another console tried to enter into the fray, and they had a whole Kickstarter program with their own games that they were developing, and that was like in 2015, 2016, and it had a quick spurt, and that was kind of it.
Well, what happened? Didn't the Google Stadia have kind of the same thing too?
Pretty much. So trying to break in with new consoles with previous titles or fun games that they're trying to play on the nostalgia of people. Mm-hmm. And I'd pay, you know what? Let Sega do a mini Genesis game box and just bring in some revamped titles. I mean, we've seen it on Xbox. They brought back DuckTales. I love that game on NES. I played the mini Genesis.
Okay, Miko is $100 to pre-order.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's about what I would pay for it if I were going to get it, which I'm not.
Yeah. What does it come with? Does it come with games?
Yeah.
I don't see any listed.
Games.
Oh, wait, no, $100 deposit. Wait. Yeah, I'm making sure. No, it's just $100.
Does that include the controllers?
2 wireless controllers.
Yeah.
And the entertainment center and a six games.
But it's essentially it's a micro SD expansion. You can store like 50 games on it, and like the ones that they have, the ones that they mentioned.
Oh my! I misread. $249.99.
Yeah.
Oh, God, read those for.
Oh, this is gonna bomb hard.
Yep.
Ouch.
Yep, especially when you got the the mini NES.
You can build a retro Pi for like $100.
Yep. Yes. This is gonna crash and burn, guys. Don't even bother.
Damn, that's unfortunate.
It looks, and there's 3 different models you can get at pre-order.
You know what? I've got an extra mini NES that I will sell you for $200, and you'll have more enjoyment out of it than this punk of shit.
And you'll save $50.
Not take that. Because that is a ripoff. I am well aware of how much those are worth.
That is my point.
I have all of those though. I have the SNES and the NES and the Sega. So
All right. Well, is there anything else from E3 that is?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a lot
from that day.
Yeah. We got some more indie dev announcements. I was looking at New Blood's new game Fallen Aces. It's that noir beat 'em up. It looks really cool to me. Okay, y'all are gonna laugh at me, but I'm very excited about Cat Cafe Manager.
Nobody's going to, be surprised.
Yeah. I told you about this game forever ago, and I'm just glad that you're still interested in it.
Yeah, so Freedom Studios is putting out a bunch of cool games, I think. Another one that you told me about a long time ago is One Lonely Outpost. It's got a release date.
I know. Finally, it has taken forever.
Yeah, not until 2022, though. But it's basically Stardew Valley on Mars. I can't wait.
Oh, fun.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not particularly fond of games like that, but I was thinking about maybe giving it a shot. Because this one looks really fun.
Yeah, I can't wait. They also announced Dark Deity, which is a new kind of JRPG style game that's supposed to have some interesting new elements. I'd play it.
It doesn't look bad. The nice thing about it is it's like only a 30-hour experience, and they don't require you to grind in any real way. It's there for you to experience the narrative.
Oh, cool. I might be worth trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Capcom?
Nothing. It was a boring ass fucking thing.
Yeah.
They did casually mention that Resident Evil 8 Village is getting a DLC.
Oh yeah, because it's so popular. Because people went so insane over the
Lady
big
Demetress?
vampire lady. Yes,
Lady Demetress.
you bet. They're
Right.
single-handedly like inspiring more DLC.
100%.
Ridiculous.
I hope all that happens in the DLC is you get smothered over and over again in her giant bosom.
You know what? Just sick motherfuckers would pay for that.
Yep.
It's me, I'm sick motherfuckers.
Nice.
It's gonna be interesting. That's for certain. I'm excited, honestly. Like, it's rare that there's so much power from the audience, especially when it's like essentially just a meme. Like a meme just made this game grossly successful.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it's cool. I'm excited for those people who have played it because it's probably going to be free DLC. So,
Pretty good.
but they're also just starting development in it, which means you're probably waiting at least a year.
One other thing from Capcom that I was excited about is the Great Ace Attorney.
I am not surprised.
It looks fun.
So I've never actually played one of those games, but
Neither have I.
I guess they're super fun.
They're still making Ace Attorney games, actually.
Well, I mean, this is an anthology of 3, right?
Oh, okay.
And they're adding like a couple of different game modes and stuff like that. But if you care about those games, like, they're making games for specific audiences, and it's like if that audience exists, which I know it does for Ace Attorney.
Yeah, those are very successful games.
Yeah,
very successful.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's cool that they're doing that much for their audience. It's like Capcom has always been pretty good about that, especially with like Monster Hunter and the like.
All right. Anything else?
Razer was talking about their new technology. That was the
That dude was so intense.
Yes, he was, and he was so boring. Jesus Christ,
intense and boring.
He managed.
Yeah.
It was really funny because they kept saying ultra or super or ultra or mega or like all of these like really bad qualifying words. It was terrible.
I think it was beat him a dummy. Just get him just tanked out. Just call it quits.
Yeah. I mean, it's impressive technology. Games have evolved in the last. Technology has evolved in the last year. Who would have thought?
Well, and Razer is always kind of pushing that. So.
Yeah. And tomorrow is Nintendo, and we will discuss that next week because I'm very excited to see what Nintendo has to offer.
Pokemon, Zelda, Mario.
Yep, Pokemon. I don't know if Zelda's. I don't think it's Zelda time yet. A lot of people do.
They'll say something about Zelda.
We'll see.
It's Mario's year. They're not gonna have anything with Zelda because they pulled back all the Mario merch to go. This is like a big anniversary for Mario, so we're gonna see like Mario everything. Zelda will be next year.
No, Mario was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was last year's big push.
Yeah, they didn't do anything. They postponed everything. So I have a feeling we're gonna see a shit ton of Mario.
Well, we've already heard what Mario is doing. They announced the Mario and
Rabbits. Yeah.
I bet they're going to follow them with more. Maybe not, but I would be surprised if they brought Zelda up because they don't want to eclipse Mario.
Yeah, I don't. I want to say it's a special anniversary for. It's either Zelda or Pokemon.
Pokemon's done its 25th anniversary.
Yeah, we covered that already.
That Arceus and then the
Yeah.
remakes of
Yeah, so they're going to definitely they're definitely going to hit up some Pokemon stuff.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's going to be a big chunk of it.
Yeah. And they said it's not going to include the next generation Switch, which is
stupid.
It's going to happen. It's necessary because, like, the Switch is kind of shitty. Like,
That's
no
fine.
offense intended, but like technologically, it is not very competitive.
Well, no, but that's why they're doing the Switch Pro.
Exactly. That's like, we'll see. I mean, they sold on Xboxes and PlayStations, so
Yeah, I'm sure it'll happen. If nothing else, they'll create an artificial market like they did with everything else they ever sell.
yep.
So
That's
there you
how
have it. Next week, we will be back with more E3 news. God, I can't imagine that happening. Also, we will give you our thoughts on Loki because, just frankly, we ran out of time. And whatever show may strike our fancy. But in the meantime, laugh hard, run fast, and always be kind. Give us a share, give us a like. Good night.
Fare thee well.